Hello, welcome to Simple Life Philosophy. I'm your host, Ed Raby. This is the channel where you follow along on my journey as I try to find a philosophy of life that is both simple to execute and to understand, as I lead myself into a more simple life that is more productive and, most importantly, gives me peace of mind. I want to thank everybody who's likes or shared or subscribed in recent days. Thank you very much. I appreciate all that. If you like the video, give it a like. It really helps me out. I appreciate every one of them. Comment below if you have some thoughts. Share the video with people you want, who think you would appeal to. And you always, subscribe and hit your notification bell. If you've been here a couple of times, you might as well subscribe and hit your notification bell so you can see my stuff whenever it appears. I try to do almost daily videos. It's not always possible. Like yesterday, I was having a real hard time. I posted that I was feeling ill. It wasn't a physical illness, okay? It was up here. I was just not feeling right. And that happens from time to time. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that when I say I'm not feeling well, it may not be physical. It might be up here too. I've dealt with that most of my life. But today I want to talk about a different topic besides myself. I want to talk about the three most important things that you can do for fathers on Father's Day. And I got to get a couple of things, disclaimers and things out of the way before I begin. Number one, to my children, I'm not griping. I'm not yelling at you. I'm actually going to use you for some positive examples because I love every single one of you. So to Ed, Justin, and Patience, you are my world. And I have always been proud of you. And I know that you love me and care for me. So make no mistake. Your dad knows that. I'm not griping. It's just this is a social issue that really bothers me for a lot of reasons. And I didn't post anything on Mother's Day because mothers usually get pretty good things. But one of the things I notice is the income. Being in retail, you notice the income disparity and how much money is spent on mothers and how much is spent on fathers. It's like 2/3 what is spent on mothers. And I have my worries there. Another disclaimer is, well, some people will say, well, my father was abusive. I don't have a father. I titled the video specifically what you can do for fathers on Father's Day because you may not have a great father, but you know of some, okay? Or there was somebody significant in your life that was a father figure that still deserves a nod of your respect. And so, there's somebody in your life that probably filled that fatherly role, even if you didn't have a good one. Maybe you got out of an abusive household and later on you met somebody a man who really mentored you and helped you along and became more of a father to you than other people. Him, okay, or people that you knew. I'm thinking of two people off the top of my head. Recently, a friend of mine notified me that one of my mentors when I was back in seminary just recently died, Lyle, and I'm not going to give his full name, but he died suddenly. Had been a mentor in my life for a long period of time. Short story, man had polio when he was a kid, got the polio vaccine, but still suffered polio symptoms even afterwards, and so he's always in extreme pain and everything, but absolutely brilliant. There's probably a good chance that some of the language translation software that you have going for you for some of the languages, he did a lot of work on that back in the 90s. And so there's just a lot of, when I look back at him, the discussions we used to have in his living room up until all hours of the night really bonded us together. And so I would consider him like a fatherly-like figure. I had another one, my coach, my football coach in high school died about a year ago. He gave me my football nickname, and which is Too Tall, because at the time I was like 6'3" in varsity, but I weighed 175 pounds, so I was skinny. He always told me I was too tall for the amount of weight I had on my body, and it stuck. And at the time I think Ed Too Tall Jones was still playing, or had played, and so it was kind of a nickname that stuck with me and stuck with me the rest of my football career from JV on. And but there are coaches and there's the coach. that sticks with you because they hit you here and here, and he's that guy. And so Coach K was just a really great guy. He's another example of a good fatherly figure. And I give those examples because I want you to look around and see the fathers in your life. And, as I go through these very important things that you need to do for them, I know that there's going to be a lot of objections. I want you to look at this in the most positive manner possible, because I think men and fathers are under assault. And I think, I'm not a real left-right person, but I dislike elements of both sides. And one of the elements I dislike is the attack on men, that somehow men are toxic. I hate to break the news to you ladies, there's toxic femininity too. Toxicity is a human trait. It's not based on sex. Okay, you can be a toxic person and have toxic traits, and it doesn't matter what your sex is. There, for the LGBTQ people, you can be LGBTQ and be toxic. Toxicity is about how you approach relationships and whether you're manipulating people. It doesn't have to do anything with what's between your legs. So, that all said, those disclaimers out of the way, I want to talk about the 3 important things you can do for fathers on Father's Day. Number 1, give them something emotionally significant. When I look at what mothers receive on Mother's Day, there's usually flowers and candy and stuffed animals and things that have that almost romantic connotation. Like we're using common symbols of love when we express it to our mothers. And the real problem, I think, is there's really no good equivalent for men. And so a lot of times, it's the default to tools, to the barbecue grill, to the, the stuff. And maybe that stuff works, okay? But I think you have to give them at least something significant that they can latch their life to, their emotions to you, as either their child or their spouse or whatever. But giving them something that tells them, hey, this is something about you that I really like or really find enjoyable, or something I'm going to remember you by as my dad, is absolutely sterling, because it just works. Now I'm going to show you something. Okay, this. I don't know if you can read it. It's kind of shining out the light, but this is a proclamation that my kids gave me a few Christmases ago that names me Lord Raby Sr. And it's basically my kids went ahead and bought like 5 square feet of land in Scotland and deeded it to me. And now I'm a landowner by royal decree, thus Lord Edward Raby. Now, it's fun. I don't know if I'll ever get to visit my land, but it helped, preserve some of the forests. So they're trying to get forests rebuilt in Scotland. Europe in general has problems with forests because they've used them so much. But they're trying to get some back in Scotland. And the fact that I helped out on that is a minor thing. The real thing is they all know I love, the whole medieval kind of thing. And so the whole Lord thing. And I'm going to carry this everywhere I go for the rest of my days. That's what I'm talking about by giving them something emotionally significant, because they connected with who I was and they knew who their father was enough to buy me something like this. And I don't know what it is about whoever fathers you have in your life, but finding something that emotionally connects to them and giving it to them is far better than anything you'll ever do. Sometimes it doesn't have to be tools, the barbecue grill, or an easy chair. Sometimes it's just making sure they understand that you relate to them and understand them. Number 2, thankfully give them respect. Like I said before, I think the toxic masculinity thing has gotten out of hand. And a lot of men, I'm going to be blunt with you, I talk to and look at and watch a lot of men, and a lot of men just don't feel respected. The whole, we don't need men movement, I don't need a man movement. I'll talk about that some other day, but from a philosophical standpoint, building a better society does not mean that we're going to just take one sex or one group of people and just shove them off and say that if we get rid of them, we'll have a better society. that's been tried many times before with very, very poor results. And no, what we need to do is start finding ways to respect one another. And I think with fathers in particular, they see the disparity of how much is spent on Mother's Day compared to Father's Day. They see how men aren't complimented on how they do. I mean, that's a big thing. Just being thankful for what men do sometimes, or what a man does, or what a father does, goes a long way. A lot of men just never hear that. And I get that. Okay, because right now I can already hear the women in the, but I don't want to tell a man, any man, that, you know, that he's being a good man or whatever, because it might be interpreted correctly. And you're right, that can happen. But you have a lot of men in your life that wouldn't consider any compliment you gave them as a romantic thing. For instance, your spouse, your husband, your father, your sons, okay? Just telling them, you know, because a lot of men don't hear that they're doing a good job anymore, or that they're appreciated. And I think it's bad. I think it's going to be very bad for society going forward. The young men are already like taken off from the whole dating pool. I mean, you don't have to look too far to see the concern there. But something has to change. And one of the things is men are starting to feel like they're under the gun all the time, like they're blamed for every relationship problem. I'm going to say I'll take my half of any blame in any relationship thing I've done, but I expect the other side to take their half too, because relationships are a two-way street. And if something breaks down, it's broken down. And so a lot of men feel like they're being blamed for everything, and what they don't hear anymore is compliments about what they do. Now, I get it. Some men, if a man isn't like related to you, he might take that wrong and take that as a, because it's happened so rarely. I'm like, oh my gosh, you must really like me, you know. And no, it's become so rare that that's the reaction from men. But there are a lot of men in your life that would never think that, like your own dad, your husband, your own sons, that, or you know, a grandfather or anything like that, where you approach them and say, hey, you know what, you're a really good dad. Okay, you're doing fine. I really appreciate X, Y, and Z that you do for us. Men won't say it. We tend to soldier on without too many compliments, and we just do our job because it's the best thing to do and the right thing to do. But those kind of compliments mean the world to a lot of men. I know when I've received such compliments from women that were part of my life, it made the world of difference for me at the time. Number 3, make sure to tell them that you love them. You know, not just the thankful respectfulness, but make sure you let them know you love them, and you're emotionally attached to them. Okay. As much as I think thankfulness and being respectful in that is very, very important, letting your dad or the dads around you know that they're loved and cared for, and that, or they're appreciated. You know, make sure they're thanked and make sure they're loved. Okay, and make sure you get them something that is emotionally significant. You know, find a way to do that. Put some effort into it. I'm just concerned. Okay, as I watch society, you know, I recently read a report that like 62% of men aren't even dating, that are in between the ages of like 18 and 30. And I'm thinking, why is that? Well, because they're checking out. You know, they see the risks. They see the fact that women don't appreciate them. They're always called toxic. And they're like, you know, why do I want to even put up with that? Okay, you can list a lot of other reasons, but you know, there's a reason why male suicide is high, okay, compared to women. Women attempt more suicides, but their thing is crying for attention. Men just check out and think it's not worth even living, and they legit mean that. And I don't know. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for men, concerned for myself sometimes, because I do a lot of things, and I do them without thanks. I do them anyway, but it means the world to be thanked. It means the world to hear I love you. It means the world of giving somebody something and saying, I know that you will appreciate this, and I put a lot of thought into it. That's gold to a dad. It's absolute gold to a dad. So if you have a father or a father figure that you think deserves some things, these are the three most important things you can do to them. Give something, that's emotionally significant. Thank them for what they do, and that you think they do a good job and you respect them. And then tell them you love them. And the real bottom line reason you should do all of that is because someday they may not be there. My dad has been dead almost 29 years, and I wish every day, sometimes, weeks on end, that he was just here to have one more conversation with. Just one more. And I don't want to choke up too much, but I miss him still to this day. And every Father's Day is a hard one for me because I really wish I could do these things for my dad again. But all I can do is kind of go to his grave and shed a few tears and say I miss him. Well, I want to thank you for stopping by and listening to me pontificate about Father's Day. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just trying to voice some concerns. And I think, things need to change. If we want good fathers, we need to start appreciating the good fathers that exist so that they can genuinely be seen and appreciated examples for other men to follow. And if that's too much for somebody, I guess that's a problem. I really do. I really do think that's a problem. Well, this has been Simple Life Philosophy. I'm your host, Ed Raby. Thank you for stopping by. Please like or share the video. It really helps me out. Comment below if you have any thoughts about fathers and Father's Day, any other advice that you'd want to give. Go right ahead. I'm doing this a little bit early because I figured advice given on the day isn't very useful. Giving advice like a week beforehand is much, much more useful. So thank you very much for stopping by. And I hope you have your own simple life journey, and I hope that you're doing well at it. Appreciate you once again for stopping by, and you have a great day.